Hi everyone, welcome to lecture 6 on our new topic. We're going to be looking at personality factors and stress. And I'm going to give you everything you need to know to get a extremely good grade in your AS psychology examinations. I'm Miss N. Maduka, and we're going to be focusing on the three types of personality. So we're going to be looking at type A, type B behavior, and hardiness. And our two key studies, again, I filter it down to what you need to know. There are many studies out there, but if you just want to follow my lead and just take the studies and just remember those ones, you'll be absolutely fine. So I've got Friedman and Rosenman, and I've got Kabasa and Maddie. So first things first, you need to know, because they do like asking questions about personality factors and stress. First of all, you need to know the three types of personality. Now, a quick brief, the reasons why psychologists are interested in personality types, obviously, we all have different types of temperament, different types of ways of doing things, but generically, there are particular ways that most people tend to do. So they've kind of distinguished between type A, type B, and later on the Hardy personality. So also the reason psychologists are so interested in all of this as well is simply because that some personality types or some people are more resistant to the negative effects of stress than other people. Some people, for example, you give them something to do that's out of their schedule and they will collapse and have a nervous breakdown. Whereas other people, they'll be like, hey, bring it on. I can do anything. So we kind of like the last people, because the last people can cope with anything, and those people won't, for example, go off work for being ill or stressed or any of those kind of stuff. So type A behavior, these are the people who are constantly, think of the C's, for example, always constantly under pressure. They've always got somewhere to go. They can't just sit there, for example, and watch paint dry. That could be very boring for them because they think that their time could be best used doing something else. Okay, they're always competitive, no matter where the situation. So whether it be work or social situations, for example, the first person to finish a glass of 2 pint glass of Coke, for example, yeah, of cola, of of Sprite, they'll always be the first ones who are like, I can do this and I can win. And they don't, they're not very patient people either. So probably have a bit of type A behavior myself, but really like time, like what's going on, hurry up. When I want something, I want it as of yesterday. So these are the type of people who they say, psychologists say, are more likely to be affected by the negative effects of stress. The type B behavior, these people, you may come across people like this in your life. They're really, really relaxed about everything. For example, they start work at 9 o'clock, and by 10 past, quarter past 9, they're happily still strolling on a bus somewhere. It doesn't affect them as much. Whereas type A behavior, people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. I need to be there at least an hour before. I need to make sure I'm on time and efficient. Where these people, it's not really gonna. So at the end of the day, their approach would be like, I'm late. What's the point in rushing now? Yeah, they're so but then these type of people, even though they're really relaxed and they don't study, they don't really get affected by the negative effects of stress. They don't really get much done in the first place anyway, because they're kind of like, I know, and not many people probably want to employ them either. So that's a big difference then and there. So it's good to be efficient, but probably not too efficient or not too lazy either. And a final type of personality we have is the hardy types of personality. And let's think of the C's for this one: control, challenge, and commitment. Yes, so anything, so it's them, they have the responsibility over their own lives. They're involved in changing things that happen. So I'm not happy with my job. It's my responsibility to change it. If I want to be a doctor tomorrow, I can be a doctor tomorrow. I just have to put the hard work in, for example. Commitment, so they're involved in the world around them. So there's these people like, it's my I'm committed to this world that I live in. I need to ensure that the recycle bin is kept efficient, that people are doing what they need to be doing. I'm doing what I need to be doing for the environment, basically, because it's my responsibility to ensure, or part of my responsibility to ensure, that the environment is kept up to scratch, that I'm not increasing the carbon footprint and all of that kind of stuff. So they're really, really committed with the world around them. And then finally, challenge, bring on anything for these people, and they will take it as a challenge and not like a threat. They'll take it as, oh, yes, I have 500 pieces of work to do or work to mark if they're a teacher, but it's a challenge. I'm willing to take on this challenge, basically. So these are kind of people who psychologists say are more resistant to the negative effects of stress. Okay, so our first key study is Friedman and Rosenman, 1960. Again, they were looking at the differences between, well, they're really focusing on type A types of personality, and they wanted to see if there's a link or if it's associated with coronary heart disease. That is CHD, which you can abbreviate for that, which just basically means that you could just problems with your heart, yeah, blocked arteries or those kind of stuff. Some people have a lot of issues in terms of that respect. They're trying to link this with this particular type of disease, that's type A personality, and they based it in California over a long period of time. So it was a longitudinal study for 8.5 years. It went on for, and they basically, how they managed to assess what type of personality type someone has is by using interviews, and we call this provocative interviews. Just say, for example, if you had a type A personality and somebody was t- t- taking, some type A's may even finish your sentence for you because you're just taking long about things. Basically, you're long. Yeah, they might just be very frustrated that you're not doing things properly, or you're taking too long about things. So they try to incite um, type A personalities through these interviews, and obviously through the interviews they found some people who were type A and some people who were not type A. Maybe they were type B or something like that. Right. They did use a large amount of people, so 3,000 is a generically large sample. However, it was just men between 39 to 59, so we're going to be looking at evaluation later, especially when we start looking at the 12 mark essays, which should be coming in lecture 5B. Um, and basically, an astonishing finding that those people who were type A, they had died. So it was after 8, twice as many than as type B. Okay, so we had people dying, twice as many of type A people than type B had died from heart problems after 8.5 years. That is a very, very big finding. And 12% of type A personality, participants had experienced a heart attack, higher blood pressure, and higher cholesterol. So all the issues with the heart, basically, 12% of them, and that was only compared to like probably 6% of small attempts. Is based on a very, very small percentage of type B. So that comparison is quite big as well. So we can just basically say your personality is a high risk factor for becoming stressed or getting a stress related illness, for example, heart issues or heart problems. So we have to, if you kind of know what personality type we have, we kind of have to be careful. Our second key study is Cabasa. And Cabasa, decided to focus on Cabasa because Cabasa looked at the Hardy personality. And just to recap what the Hardy personality is, you just want to pause this or stop it and go back. So when I talk about the Hardy personality, so these are people, commitment, challenge, and control over their lives. Okay, so Cabasa, they based this particular study in America, and they looked at business executives, so people really high up in the business world, basically CEOs, all those people who were in a boardroom, Sir Alan Sugar, all those type of people, really. And they use the SRRS. Remember SRRS, Social Readjustment Rating Scale from Life Changes? So they use that same questionnaire to find out the life change units from these business executives. They also checked their illness records, okay, and they made them complete a Hardy questionnaire. So this questionnaire could be like, you have a new task to do. Do you leave it till tomorrow? Take it on. Think of it as a challenge. Those kind of stuff to basically find out how hardy they basically were. They found that participants in the high stress, so people who, for example, scored really high on a life change unit, for example, their wife may have left them, they had a new baby with another woman, and they don't really know the woman very much, or they might have moved house. So people who have experienced loads of life change units, however, they didn't really get ill at all. So they were low illness group. They scored really high on the questions of the Hardy question in the Hardy questionnaire. Yeah, so high stress, low illness, they scored quite highly. So these kind of people had a hardy personality, which therefore meant they were more resilient to the pressures of the life changes that they were going through. For those business executives in a high stress and high illness group, that is, they had high life change units, and also they had high illness records as well, and they were quite low on the Hardy questionnaire. That is, that they really didn't have a hardy personality, hence why they probably kept getting ill. So basically, to conclude, that we kind of all really need to have a hardy personality because it helps us and encourages our resilience to the effects of stress. So make sure that it doesn't negatively affect us. And now we know what the negative effects are, we can be more secure in knowing that we are able to control our lives and take things as challenges. For example, your examinations that are coming on. If you try and get more like a hardy personality temperament, the good things about hardy personality is that it's the type of personality that you can work on. So you keep telling yourself you have control over your life. You understand, you're able to control certain things. Obviously, limitations, population validity, that's self-explanatory, which you're going to see how I work it in the lecture 5B. And strengths, real world applications, development of stress coping strategies. So just another way of doing it. A real world application is, what now we know this, what can we now do to better society? So what can we now do to ensure most people are resilient to stress, so they don't take off time off work or even die? Okay, so we have things like hardiness training, which we're going to be looking at in our next section of stress, and how we can help people to develop these particular types of characteristics. Okay, so that's the end of this lecture. Please do go back and listen to it again until you drummed it into your head. Please do use these 2 key studies as well. Don't learn anymore because it will just confuse you, and I'll see you in the next lecture.